You're standing at the edge of the playground. The air is buzzing with laughter, sneakers slapping the ground, kids shouting over each other, that chaotic symphony of joy that only childhood can make. But not for you. You're standing still, hands gripping your backpack straps like a shield. You want to step forward. You want to laugh with them, to belong, to be part of that noise. But something inside freezes. It's not that you don't care, it's that something invisible has wrapped itself around you. Your heart beats faster. Your palms are hot. You feel like everyone's eyes could turn towards you at any moment. And even though your brain whispers, "It's fine, just go," another voice, quieter but stronger, says, "Stay still, don't risk it." That's what shyness feels like. Not a lack of confidence, not weakness, but a kind of invisible wall between wanting and doing. A storm of emotion that turns simple moments into battles no one else can see. And maybe you know this wall. Maybe you've stood behind it too. Because shyness isn't the absence of desire. It's the presence of fear. It's the push and pull between a heart that longs for connection and a body that's too terrified to step into the light. That's where our story begins. Not with failure, not with fragility, but with quiet strength trapped beneath silence. The psychology of the shy child starts right here, on that playground edge where courage trembles just behind a small, still face. Shyness is often misunderstood. It's too easily brushed off as a personality flaw, a simple introvert label, or something that can be fixed with just a little more courage. But that's not the full picture. At its core, shyness is not a character trait. It's a psychological and physiological response to social situations. Think of your nervous system like a dial. Some people have that dial turned higher than others. When a shy child faces a situation where eyes are on them, where they might have to speak, or when they're about to take a risk socially, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Their heart races. They start to sweat. They feel like they're in danger. And in that moment, logic doesn't matter. Their body reacts as if it's about to face something truly threatening, even if they know deep down that it's not. It's like the body is a few steps ahead of their brain, pulling them into fight or flight mode, even when there's no actual threat. That's why shy children often experience physical sensations alongside their emotions: racing hearts, flushed cheeks, tight throats, a heaviness in their chest. These aren't just nerves. They're the body's way of preparing for a social battle, whether that battle is real or imagined. But here's the twist. Shyness isn't something passive. It's active. It's an internal struggle between the heart's longing to connect and the body's fear of being judged or rejected. And that's the paradox. The very thing shy children crave, connection, is often the thing that feels the most dangerous to them. It's not a lack of desire to be part of the group. It's the fear of what might happen if they are. And that's where their strength lies, in their ability to fight these invisible battles, even if it seems like they're standing still. Let's pause here for a moment, because there's something incredibly profound happening inside the mind of a shy child. Shy children, at their core, want connection. They want to belong. They want to be seen. They long to speak, to laugh, to join in the fun. But every time they try to take that step forward, something pulls them back. And this is where the paradox comes in. The very thing they crave, connection, is the same thing that feels the most threatening. The thought of standing up, raising their hand, or walking over to someone feels like a huge risk. Why? Because in their minds, these simple acts become steeped in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of not being enough. Imagine standing at the edge of that playground, watching the other kids running around, feeling like they belong and you don't. The heart says go, but the mind says no. The desire for connection is there, but the fear of rejection, of not being accepted weighs heavier. For the shy child, it's like their mind and heart are pulling them in opposite directions. Their heart says, "You belong, you should join them." But their brain, in a way, says, "If you step forward, it's a risk, you might fail, you might embarrass yourself." And this push-pull creates a tension that can shape the shy child for years, maybe even for life. It's a battle they may fight daily, not with a loud voice or a visible fight, but with silence, with hesitation, with that invisible wall they can never quite break down. This paradox of wanting something so badly and fearing it at the same time is at the heart of shyness. It's a story of longing, yes, but also of fear, and it's this tension that makes the shy child's world so complex and often misunderstood. So where does this all come from? Why do some children seem fearless in a crowd, while others shrink at the sound of their own name being called? Psychologists have spent decades studying this, and what they've found is that shyness doesn't appear out of thin air. It's not random. It's a mixture of nature and nurture, biology and experience intertwined. Some children are simply born with more sensitive nervous systems. Their internal dials are tuned higher, their emotional volume knobs turned up. They react more strongly to the world around them, sudden sounds, new faces, unfamiliar places. It's not weakness, it's wiring. Their brains are built to feel more. But then there's nurture, the experiences that carve this sensitivity into patterns of behaviour. Maybe the child was teased at school. Maybe every time they spoke up, someone laughed. Maybe they grew up in a home where speaking out wasn't safe, or where silence was rewarded. Over time, that natural sensitivity meets an environment that teaches them one painful rule. It's safer to stay quiet. And that's how shyness deepens. It's not just born, it's shaped. The world often forgets that shy children didn't choose to feel this way. They didn't wake up one day and decide to fear connection. Their minds and bodies learned, through nature's design or nurture's scars, that visibility equals risk. Yet here's the crucial truth Key highlights. Shyness is not fixed. It's not a lifelong sentence. It's a response, one that can evolve when the world around the child changes. Because if the environment helped create that fear, a different environment, one built on patience, warmth and safety, can help undo it. A shy child isn't broken. They're simply carrying too much signal from the world, too much awareness, too much sensitivity. And what they need isn't correction, it's understanding. Here's where most people get it wrong. They use shy and introvert like they're the same word, but they're not even close. Introversion is about energy. It's about where you recharge. An introvert might love spending time alone, reading, drawing, or just sitting quietly because solitude refills their tank. But being introverted doesn't mean they fear people. In fact, many introverts can speak confidently and connect deeply. They just need downtime afterward. Shyness, on the other hand, is about fear, specifically the fear of judgment, rejection, or embarrassment. A shy person might want to be around others. They might crave connection, laughter, conversation, but when the moment comes, anxiety steps in and locks the door. That means you can actually have a shy extrovert, someone who loves people, thrives on energy, but feels too scared to start a conversation. Imagine a child who adores being around classmates, who has ideas bursting inside them, but sits silently at their desk because the thought of speaking feels unbearable. It's not that they don't care, it's that the spotlight feels like fire. And this misunderstanding, confusing shyness with introversion, can make things worse, because when adults, teachers, or even parents assume the shy child just doesn't like people, they miss the truth that the child does like people, they just can't break through the fear. That's where the real pain starts to form. When shyness is mislabeled as coldness or indifference, the child starts to believe those labels. They begin to think, maybe I am the quiet one, maybe I don't belong. And that's where shyness stops being a momentary feeling and starts becoming an identity. Childhood is where our sense of self begins to take shape. It's when we start to define who we are in the eyes of others. And for a shy child, this process can twist into something painful. Every time they hesitate to speak, every time someone talks over them, laughs at their silence, or forgets their name, a quiet narrative starts forming inside their head. I'm the quiet one. I'm the one nobody notices. I don't fit in. These aren't conscious choices. They're slow engravings, carved by repetition. And before long, that temporary fear of social interaction becomes something much deeper, a self-story. A story that says, this is who I am. But here's the paradox. While the shy child is locked in that story of silence, something else is happening beneath it. They're watching. They're listening. They're noticing everything others miss. While the loud kids fill the air with noise, the shy child studies the pauses, the glances, the tiny shifts in tone. They learn to read body language like a second language. They pick up on tension before anyone else does. Their silence, though born from fear, gives them the gift of perception. Many of these children grow up to become artists, writers, thinkers, people who translate the world's chaos into meaning. Because they were forced to live in observation, they developed a kind of quiet intelligence, a sensitivity that others mistake for fragility. But that doesn't mean the struggle disappears. The same sensitivity that gives them insight also makes them vulnerable. It's a double-edged sword, awareness and anxiety, depth and doubt, living side by side. So when you look at a shy child, you're not seeing emptiness. You're seeing a mind collecting data, a heart absorbing the world, a soul waiting for permission to speak. And when that permission finally comes, when they finally feel safe enough, what comes out isn't small talk. It's truth. Now picture this, a classroom on a regular morning. The teacher asks a question, hands shoot up instantly, and the same confident voices fill the air. They're praised, encouraged, and rewarded for participation. Meanwhile, in the back row, a shy child sits quietly. They know the answer. Their mind is racing with thoughts, but their hand stays glued to the desk. Because in that split second between thought and action, fear wins. Not fear of being wrong, fear of being seen. And this is how the education system, often without realizing it, starts punishing silence. In many classrooms, confidence equals ability, and shyness looks like apathy. Teachers reward the loud, assuming the quiet simply have nothing to say. But what's really happening is that brilliance is hiding in plain sight. Behind hesitation, behind flushed cheeks, behind lowered eyes. Over time, this becomes more than just a classroom problem. It becomes a pattern. The shy child starts to believe that invisibility is safer than visibility. They stop volunteering. They avoid eye contact. They start to disappear, not because they lack ability, but because the world around them confuses silence for emptiness. And here's the tragedy. How many brilliant ideas, how many original thoughts, how many friendships were lost because someone too shy to speak was mistaken for someone who didn't care. The damage runs deep. When the world rewards loudness and punishes quiet, the shy child's self-worth begins to erode. Their grades might slip, not from ignorance, but from unspoken intelligence. They don't perform worse because they're less capable. They perform worse because their voice is trapped behind fear. But Key's point here hits hard. This isn't just a sad story. It's a call for awareness, because when teachers, parents, and peers finally start to see the quiet child, everything changes. Recognition becomes oxygen. The moment someone says, "I know you have something to say," the wall begins to thin. And that's how visibility begins, not with volume, but with understanding. Here's something most people never realize. Shyness doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not just about what's happening inside the child. It's equally about what's happening around them. A shy child's world can either nurture or intensify their fear. When they're surrounded by understanding, parents who don't force them to just speak up, teachers who give them time instead of pressure, friends who listen instead of tease, something beautiful starts to happen. Safety rewires the brain. The nervous system begins to relax. Step by step, that invisible wall begins to thin. But when the opposite happens, when a child is mocked, dismissed, or constantly told to be braver, the wall grows higher. Every push to perform feels like proof that their silence is a flaw. They retreat further inward, confirming their deepest fear, that speaking up is dangerous. Key explains it like a feedback loop. Shyness expands or contracts depending on how the world meets it. Encouragement builds courage, pressure breeds paralysis, and that principle extends beyond childhood. It applies to all of us. When we're met with kindness, we open up. When we're met with judgment, we shut down. The shy child just feels this more acutely. Their inner world is like a small flame, delicate, sensitive, but capable of enormous warmth if shielded from the wind. So the real question isn't how do we fix shyness? It's how do we make the world safe enough for shy children to unfold? Because once the environment becomes gentle, patience replaces fear. And that's when a shy child begins to bloom. Here's the twist in the story, the one that flips the narrative on its head. Many shy children grow up to become remarkably empathetic, creative, and insightful adults. The very experiences that once held them back, the silence, the hesitation, the overthinking, become the foundation of their depth. Because when you've spent your early years afraid of not being seen, you learn to see others with extraordinary clarity. You notice when someone's uncomfortable. You sense tension before words are spoken. You recognize loneliness because you've lived inside it. Key points out that this transformation isn't magic. It's awareness turned outward. The shy child who once feared attention often becomes the adult who gives attention. The friend who listens, the leader who empathizes, the artist who tells the stories no one else can put into words. Their sensitivity becomes their compass. What used to feel like a burden, the constant self-awareness, the tendency to overanalyze, turns into emotional intelligence. They know what kindness looks like. They know what cruelty feels like. And they often dedicate their lives to ensuring others don't feel invisible the way they once did. But make no mistake, this growth doesn't erase the old fear entirely. It lingers. The adult version might still hesitate to speak in meetings, still replay conversations in their head, still flinch at judgment. But now, instead of letting it define them, they learn to channel it. The shy child becomes the quiet adult who notices the one sitting alone and reaches out, the one who doesn't need to shout to be heard because their words carry weight. And that's the great irony. The trait that once made them feel small becomes the very thing that makes them human in the deepest, most compassionate way. And this brings us to the heart of it all, the final truth about the shy child. Shyness isn't something that needs to be fixed. It's not a flaw, not a malfunction, not a weakness to be outgrown. It's a form of sensitivity, a different way of processing the world. And when it's nurtured instead of criticized, it becomes something extraordinary. Key ends with a powerful image, a shy child holding a small candle. The flame flickers, fragile, uncertain, easily shaken by the winds of the world. But with time, care, and understanding, that same fragile light grows stronger. It warms rooms, it guides others. It becomes a beacon, not a burden. Because silence is not emptiness, quietness is not weakness. The shy child's mind isn't empty, it's full of thoughts, of empathy, of awareness that runs deeper than most people ever realize. When they finally learn that their quiet isn't a defect but a form of strength, something remarkable happens. Their fear softens into reflection, their hesitation becomes discernment, and their sensitivity turns into compassion. And that's the ultimate transformation. The shy child doesn't have to become the loudest voice in the room to matter. Their gift is different. Their gift is depth, the ability to see, to feel, to understand the invisible threads that connect us all. Shyness may fade with time, but sensitivity remains. And when embraced, that sensitivity becomes a lifelong source of empathy, creativity, and truth. So the next time you see a shy child, or feel the shy child still living inside you, remember this, that quiet flame isn't weakness, it's potential. It's light, waiting for space to burn bright.